Welcome to Dirty Little Shifts, guys, where I do full game analysis of some of the NHL's top defensemen in order to help you guys learn what I know about defense and hopefully help you guys see the game a little deeper. Today, we are looking at Matthew Schaefer. He was the first overall pick last year, and there's a lot of hype around him. And we're going to look a little deeper here today and see if he's worth all the hype. So far in the season, he has 21 points in 30 games. As an 18-year-old defenseman, that's insane, in my opinion. He has 8 goals in 30 games. So right off the hop, I'm thinking he must be obviously very offensive, maybe a defensive liability. Let's see. They are playing the Florida Panthers, though. They also have a very relentless forecheck, so I am curious to see how Schaefer handles that. I'm really excited to see this game because I've heard a lot about him, and I want to see if the hype's worth it. And as always, guys, stick around till the end where I'll give you my full summary of what I think of Schaefer and if he's worth the hype. Let's do it. So guys, first shift for Schaefer here, and we're going to cover my favorite topic, gap control. Right away, Schaefer is maintaining a good gap. He's aware of the pressure coming this way. This guy's got this guy, but he's really off to a good start here. Marchand has the puck, and he's holding this red line, and he's making Marchand make a play. It looks like Marchand's looking for pass here to Verhaeghe, but either way, it's forcing Marchand to get rid of the puck. He's not just giving him the zone, which a lot of defensemen tend to do, which then leads to opportunities that you might not realize. Schaefer sees the pressure and takes a big hit, which to me is crucial as a defenseman. You have to be willing to take the hit to make the play. And Schaefer does a great job. And he just does the simple play. He does a chip out. He's not getting too cute. It's the first shift of the game. You gotta keep it simple. You gotta just get into the rhythm of the game. You don't want to take anything too risky. And he takes a hit, so good job. And then look at Schaefer. He's right up, getting his gap back. That's something, as a young defenseman, you always gotta be thinking when the play goes down the other end, tighten the gap up. Tighten the gap up, and doing that will change everything for you. So Schaefer does that. And then now we have Bennett here and his D partner Pulock and Schaefer. So this is basically a 1-on-2. And when you have a 1-on-2, you're able to risk losing one of your guys. So one of your guys can go at the attacker, and then the other guy kind of is ready for cleanup duty, if you will. And that's exactly what they do. Pulock goes at Bennett. Bennett kind of beats Pulock, but Schaefer's right there to take away the play. And now look at Bennett's got nothing, and that's perfectly how you play a 1-on-2. So already, I really like this kid. That first shift there, good gap control, takes a hit to make a play, and then plays a 1-on-2 perfectly. It's a good start. And then this shift, puck in the corner. So the puck's right in here, and he knows he's got pressure, and he's not timid. He's not afraid. He goes right to the corner, looks over his shoulder, makes the simple chip out. Again, just like the shift before, and then takes another big hit. So I love it. If you watched my analysis of Quinn Hughes a couple of videos ago, he was a little bit timid to go in the corners, and that was causing him and his team issues in the defensive zone because those plays are crucial because you kind of give up possession, and Schaefer does a great job. This shift for Schaefer, we get to see how he handles the relentless Florida forecheck, like I mentioned at the start. Florida's forecheck, in my opinion, is probably the best in the league. Their cycle game, they're so fast and physical that it's very difficult as a defenseman, especially your first year in the league. So let's check it out here. So right off the start, this is Schaefer's corner. And as a defenseman, you have to be very decisive about that area. Like, that is your corner. And as a young defenseman, Schaefer does a great job and just takes control of the puck. See how he just took that from Pulock there? So he takes it, kind of gets pickpocketed by Bennett, but he's really good at that, so tough play. But then he's on him. He's kind of staying between the net here and Bennett. And now he's just staying on Bennett, so that's great. And he's just trying to maintain between the net and Bennett, staying on him. And now we got a little out of position. You kind of want to hang behind. Ideal is he kind of would stay on this side of him, but Bennett kind of beat him. Bennett's really good at that, of driving the net. So now he's behind. His vision's over this way. He's not too sure what's going on behind him. So in those scenarios, the best thing you can do is take a stick. And that's exactly what he does. And now it's basically a 2-on-1. And really all you can do is kind of give this angle to the goalie, take the stick, and also kind of protect if anything comes out of this way. So I think that's Marchand. So if Marchand kind of is able to drive in here, that's where Schaefer would pop out. But right now you're just giving that angle to your goalie. Yep, so that's perfect. So this is a tough little shift for Schaefer. And in my opinion, it's not his fault. His forwards kind of leave him out to dry. And I will show you what I mean. So right off the start, he has decent gap. He could be up a little more just because Verhaeghe here he's flat-footed. So he can't really beat you off the wall that well. So you could gap up a bit more to put some more pressure. But the thing I want you guys to see is these three guys. They're not doing much right now. And sure, I think they're maybe anticipating a dump way over here, like a rim around the boards, but they end up doing not much. So right now, we got 3 forwards here, and Schaefer should be hopping up on Verhaeghe. Pulock should be anticipating a chip and covering Marchand. And then the center, so wherever he is, because this is not the center, should be kind of taking Bennett here. But that is not what happens. Pulock ends up taking Bennett. I think this is Barzal, who I'm pretty sure is the center. He's just kind of in no man's land, and Marchand is left alone. So now Schaefer turns around and no one's covering Marchand, so he has to go to Marchand, which now he's basically in a 2-on-1. So he's got these two here. So he's kind of screwed. Barzal's just hanging out over here. There we go. Barzal's finally down. So now Schaefer can rotate off. But the issue is Barzal just takes off again. So now we're back to a 1-on-2 again. Gets it back. The pressure's on him. Realistically, with 2 guys on you, that light chip, if no one else is calling to you, that's the best option you got. Light chip up the boards. So now Florida's been cycling for a bit here. The one thing I would have liked to see Schaefer do, see how he's looking down? I would have liked to see him take Mikkola here and just take the body. That would have slowed down the cycle, and it's just more effective, to be honest. But instead, he goes for the puck, Mikkola beats him, and we're back to the cycle game. And that's going to be issues. So it goes up to the point, it starts to calm down a bit, and Schaefer's back on this guy in the front. So he does a good job there. See how he tries to get out of the lane for the goalie to see? But they're back cycling. And now he's doing a great job. So when he's watching the play, he was watching the play up here earlier, and he's anticipating the flow this way, because realistically a shot from here is not great. So what he's been doing is he gets on this side of the forward in front, and that allows this goalie, if it moves over here, to have a good view, where if he was on the far side, it's a lot harder for him to box out the forward, because the forward can just move and it's a lot more dangerous. So he's on the right side of the forward here. And now it's, again, another 2-on-1 for him. Is this Barzal again? It's a rough shift for Barzal. So now he basically has to give the shot while taking away the pass. He does a good job. I'd maybe want to see him go down a bit, like on a knee or something. But either way, he takes away the pass and the threat's over. But overall, that shift, in my opinion, Schaefer was like 99% good. That one little play where he didn't take the body could have slowed the cycle down. But overall, I think his forwards and D partner kind of left him to dry there. With this shift here, Schaefer really demonstrates why stretching out and spreading out the defense of the other team is crucial. So the puck's about to move up here, and Schaefer has all this ice, which might be tempting to a younger defenseman, but you want to make the forward come to you. And that's what he does. So it comes up, and rather than curling down, or probably more on that angle, he stays up here, which makes this forward come to him. And in the forward doing that, keeps all this space open. And that results in a nice little pass to Barzal here. And look at all that space. If Schaefer went right off the start there, he would have basically been right in the mix here, and it wouldn't have been. He could have got a shot off, but I still think keeping this space open is the better play. and it leads to a little bouncing goal. When it comes to defense, there's a couple really important aspects, and well, there's many important aspects, but one of them is memorizing where every player is. You're kind of always taking little photos in your brain and making little micro predictions of where everyone's going to go. And with that, you start to understand the flow of the pressure, where everything's going. And Schaefer shows that he really understands this. So right here, he knows this guy's on him, this guy's on him, and they're going at him, right? He also, probably from watching game tape, knows there's pressure coming down and does a great job. He sells it like he's going up here, and he makes a nice little pass right over here to this empty space. And now these guys are caught. And that's just from taking those micro photos and understanding the pressure that's coming from that. And one of the ways you develop that understanding is watching game tape. So doing what you're doing now is crucial for visualizing these situations, and you start to really sense them a lot better. So this is a quick little clip. I just want to show you guys one of my favorite plays while breaking out as a defenseman, and that is using the seventh man, as I call it. And Schaefer does a great job. So the seventh man is the net. You cannot call an interference penalty on the net. So you got to use that to your advantage. And Schaefer does a great job. So he has Samoskevich here coming right down on him. And he almost delays a little bit, so he's right on him. And that way, he uses the net. So the net does its job of throwing the shoulder into Samoskevich. And now Schaefer has this time. Another way to elevate this play is to cut up sharply here. And that way you have this passing option, that passing option. Because if you kind of keep going this way, you're a little bit more limited, especially if this is his backhand pass. But overall, using the net like that is crucial, and it's something you should really practice a lot. So I put this clip in here because I want to show a little nuance that a lot of people might not fully understand or question. And it's basically, people would be wondering why right here, Schaefer with the puck is not just attacking right away. And the reason is these guys here, they're trapping up that area, and he also has a forward caught down here. So if he were to dump it in, he has to wait for that forward to come tag up. So it's basically giving the puck away. And then the other reason is he wants to stretch out these guys. So see how Bennett's following. Marchand has to go over here. All of a sudden, we're generating space. So that's one of the reasons. And the other reason, this allows your forwards to get some forward speed towards the offensive zone, where before they're just kind of standing there flat-footed. And yeah, look at, they're flying now. And now look at all this space. So remember how Bennett and Marchand were up here holding the zone? Now they're behind the puck. So just from pulling them with you allows for a nice, easier entry into the offensive zone. So one more video on gap control. I promise. I know I've probably been harping on it a little too much, but it's just so important. And Schaefer demonstrates it really well in this game. So we got to pass across the ice, and Schaefer is on it. Like, he's right on it, and he's holding this red line, which is important because it's making Marchand make a play. He basically has two options: dump it for an icing, or he can do a light little chip into this area and try and beat out Schaefer. And realistically, DeAngelo should be anticipating this, especially because this is already taken, and he should be reading that play. So let's run it. Got to be careful of an interference. And this is a really nice play by Marchand, but that is exactly why you make a gap. It will affect so many things later down the road. The less time in your defensive zone, the less opportunity the other team has to score. So this is a crucial aspect of it. When it comes to a two-on-two, there's a couple ways to play it, but the way I like to play it is not how it goes here. So we have the two forwards here, and they're about to cross. And when that happens, especially before the blue line here, you just want to stay in your lane. And DeAngelo cuts across. And another thing to note is Schaefer and DeAngelo aren't usually D partners. Usually it's Pulock and Schaefer. So that might be the way DeAngelo and his D partner play it. I'm not sure. Because that's another important aspect to playing two-on-twos is how you and your D partner like to play it. But DeAngelo comes across, like I said, and Schaefer's holding his lane, but he quickly realizes that DeAngelo cut behind him. So he goes to go over, and now D'Angelo's going to go over, and all of a sudden, they're treating this like it's a 1-on-2, and Jones is wide open over there. So all of a sudden, this leads to a goal. So basically, when it comes to 2-on-2, stay in your lane until you cross the blue line and until you're right on the guy, which you should be because you have good gap control, and then you can crisscross with your guy. So I've mentioned in other videos a thing called a blind backhand. My old coaches hated it. Most coaches hate it. And it's basically when you make a play behind you that you have no idea what's going on behind you. And it usually gets you in trouble. And Schaefer does that here. So we have the puck coming up here. Also, one thing to note is it's 3-1. There's an empty net. So you do get a little riskier when you're the losing team there. And Schaefer here, he's trying to hold the zone, so respect on that. But the issue is, look how he's right on the boards here. And we got this guy breaking. It's a tough spot, like it's a really tough play. Maybe the better option is to just kind of tie it up here and let these guys come up to create some support. Or he could curl back because he is a good enough skater. Instead, he tries to move it in, and that creates him getting stuck on the boards. So he's out of position. You kind of want to make sure you get in between these dots here as quickly as possible, but he can't. And now he's stuck, and it's an empty net goal for Florida. So that's it, guys. So now to just answer the question, is Matthew Schaefer worth the hype? I think he is. I was really, really impressed with him. For being an 18-year-old defenseman in the NHL to play this way is really impressive. I personally think he's probably going to be one of, if not the best defenseman in the league in the next few years. There's many reasons for this, but one of them, and I noticed this when watching this game, he's very liked by his teammates. And that to me shows that he has a good personality, he has a good head on his shoulders, and that is really crucial when having chemistry with your team. The other thing is he's very tough, and he's not afraid to go in the corners. And a lot of those more offensive defensemen tend to have that, which to me creates a bit of a defensive liability. And once he puts on a little more muscle, like he's 6'2", so once he puts on more muscle and more strength, he's going to be even more effective. Another thing is he doesn't get too cute when he shouldn't be. And this is important because, again, a lot of those more offensive defensemen I find are reluctant to do the high flip, dump it in the corner. They always want to make a play. And fair enough, that's what makes them really offensive. But I think Schaefer has the right balance between the two. He knows when to and when not to. Another thing is his gap control is incredible. Probably one of the best I've seen. He's a great skater, but he also really understands the flow of the game. And for being 18, his first year in the league, and being able to read the play so well is really impressive. But yeah, like I said, I think he's going to be one of, if not the best defenseman in the league in the next few years. And best defenseman as in best overall defenseman, because he's very strong defensively, very strong offensively. He's very, very smart. And throw in the fact that he seems to be really well liked is a bonus. So that's it, guys. As always, let me know in the comments who you want me to analyze next. I do full game analysis of the NHL's top defensemen, hoping to pass on my knowledge of defense to you to help you understand the game a bit deeper. Hope you enjoyed.